Welcome to Behind the Game, the show about the sports and the teams that we love and the people who bring them to life. I'm Patrick Klinger. Riding shotgun is my dear friend, my co-host, and the Commissioner of the Western Collegiate Hockey Association, Bill Robertson.
Thanks, Patrick, and good afternoon, everyone. And today our guest is Robb Quinlan. Many of you may know that name as a former Major League Baseball player, but he's quite the entrepreneur these days, involved in several businesses, including baseball, but also a chiropractic clinic, the Joint Chiropractic Clinics, all over the Twin Cities area. And Robb, it's great to have you today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Let's get right into some questions, as time will move very fast for you. I know this, knowing you as much as I do, you grew up in a really competitive sports family, with your brother playing minor league baseball and you playing professional baseball and probably others too. Tell us a little about that environment, going to Hill Murray High School and growing up in a family that loves sports.
Yeah, so growing up, my parents were athletes growing up as well. My dad played basketball and football back in high school. My mom was a figure skater. And I had two older brothers, Tom and Craig Quinlan, 8 and 9 years older than me. So a little bit of an age difference there. So as you can imagine, I probably got picked on quite a bit when I was a kid. But they're really the ones that got me into sports, being competitive. My parents were working during the day, especially during the summertime. So my brothers tagged me along everywhere. So if I wanted to fit in with the rest of the boys that were 8, 9 years older than me, I had to get my game together and bring my ball and my glove or my stick, whatever it may be, and start playing. So my brothers really helped me out. Obviously, my parents were great as well, but my brothers, the competitive side of it, really were very competitive kids growing up, as well as the whole neighborhood. We had a great neighborhood of kids that were really competitive into sports. That really helped me growing up, and it's one of the reasons why I've always been a competitive person this day.
Were you like a lot of 8-year-old kids where your dream was to be a big league ball player someday?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, my two brothers, Tom and Craig, were very good baseball and hockey players. Both were drafted in both sports professionally. So when I was 8 years old, they were in high school in the state hockey tournament, which is going on right now. Being around that atmosphere, they lost to Burnsville 2 years in a row in the championship game. So I was always around sports, and it seemed like every time that if we took a vacation, it had to do with going to watch my brothers play somewhere. And so it was a fun atmosphere growing up in.
Awesome. Tell us how you ended up, going from Hill Murray High School and as a hockey player and a baseball player. You probably had some options and were thinking about things, but you ended up playing at the University of Minnesota for John Anderson, who we both admire and call a friend. Tell us about how you picked the University of Minnesota and why, and that relationship you have with John.
Yeah, first off, John Anderson is more than a great coach. He's a really great guy. And I know you know him very well, both you guys, and he's just a great person to be around. He's a leader. He takes boys and turns them into men. So I was very lucky to have an opportunity to go there. But as far as growing up in the Hill Murray atmosphere, playing baseball, playing hockey, like I said, my two brothers were drafted in baseball and hockey, and I wasn't quite the best hockey player. So I didn't have many choices as far as picking a sport, which one I was going to play. I knew that if I was going to have an opportunity to go on and do something, it would be in the baseball area. And really, I didn't have a ton of schools that even contacted me about scholarships or anything. And when the Gophers did, that's where I wanted to go. It wasn't like I was like, all right, let's see who else is going to come along and what other opportunities are there for me. John Anderson came knocking on my door, and I knew right away that's where I wanted to be.
That's great.
And John Anderson, a class act. He's been there for a long, long time.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time. And it's not only John, too. I know John a lot of times gets a lot of the credit, but Rob Fornacier is the assistant coach who's been there almost as long as John. He does a phenomenal job, does a lot more behind the scenes, working the day in and day out with the student athletes, getting them ready for the games. And John's kind of the father figure of the whole the whole show. But they've had a great team there for a lot of years.
They have, and considering they're playing in a northern climate, most of the games are outside. It's pretty remarkable that they've had such a competitive program for so many years.
It really is. It's actually unbelievable how well they've done. And like you said, it's it's never always that much fun when it's April 2nd and you're playing outside on a Wednesday night and then there's snow flurries and you're thinking about playing baseball and you got 8 layers of clothes on and you're trying to stay warm. But he's always went out and got players that want to win and be competitive and just good people overall. There's been a lot of great student athletes that have gone through the baseball program over there, and it really is phenomenal how well they've done.
Good.
Well, after your great career at Minnesota, where you're an all Big Ten performer, you ended up getting drafted by at the time, the Anaheim Angels franchise, which I know very well, and I know you do too. Tell us about some of the experiences. I know you have probably a lot, but some of the people inside the organization, whether they're players or coaches, who had a profound effect on you as a man and as a professional baseball player.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first off, when you get drafted, you're 20, 21, almost 22 years old. I was a senior in college. Wow. Got drafted by the Anaheim Angels at the time. And really the first thing is most people probably realize this, but you don't go right to the major leagues. You're going right into the minor leagues. And it really hits you that first time when you jump on a plane and you realize I was going to Boise, Idaho, which is actually a phenomenal city and actually a great city to play in. But I don't know who I'm going to see. I don't know who's going to be there, what coaches, what players. And a guy by the name of Tom Kochman, who is one of the coaches that was with the Angels for a lot of years and had a lot of winning teams in Boise, was one of the first guys that you meet. And he's a great guy. He's really fired up, very passionate about what he does. But he's a guy that really, I'm glad that he was one of my first coaches there, because he really taught you how to, all right, there's no more holding your hand. Mm-hmm. This is professional baseball. Either you're gonna start playing and start practicing and start working, which is something I love to do anyways. But it was one of the first coaches that I met, and he always had a great impact on my life. And then as you go through the minor league system, there's a ton of coaches, especially that played professional baseball, that you meet. Mike Brumley was a guy, and a guy named Mike Butcher, who were my manager and pitching coach for 2 years in the minor leagues. That 2 guys I still talk to this day that are great guys that really, they push you. And I'm very thankful that I had those guys as coaches. And then as you make your way up, to the major leagues, there's a lot of people in that area that played in the major leagues. Mickey Hatcher, who, crazy Mickey Hatcher, right? Longtime twin back in the day, and he was my hitting coach for the Angels. And I just always, me and him kind of gravitated towards each other. And he's one of the guys that really helped me out as far as the coaching side. Mike Scioscia, obviously, longest tenured manager in Major League Baseball, did a phenomenal job. Still is doing a great job out there. And then, like I said, Mike Butcher, who ended up being the Major League pitching coach. There's just a lot of great coaches, but probably the guy I still talk to the most is Mickey Hatcher. Bud Black was another guy that was a great coach. And actually being with the Angels, I was very fortunate because Mike Scioscia was the manager when I first started. Joe Madden was the bench coach, who we all know is the Cubs manager. We won a World Series. Bud Black was a pitching coach who's been a manager in the big leagues now for a while. Ron Renick was our third base coach who became the manager of the Brewers for a while. So I got to think I was pretty lucky to have that coaching staff out there.
We were watching some of the highlights from your career, Rob. Is there any one experience or a couple of experiences maybe that stand out? Any really special moments that you recall from your playing days?
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, the times when we had the most fun or the best memories that I have is the years we've had really great years. I played 8 years in the major leagues. Even through the minor leagues, I spent 4 years. 3 out of the 4 years we made the playoffs in the minor leagues. 6 out of the 8 years we made the playoffs in the major leagues. So when you're winning, it's fun. Everything's easy when you're winning, right? And it's fun showing up to the ballpark. So from the team aspect side of it, it was, those years when we went to the playoffs, went to the ALCS, American League Championship Series a few times. Unfortunately, never made it to the World Series, but had a great time playing in those playoff games. As far as the personal side note, as far as my career, some of my best memories was my rookie year. I had a 21-game hitting streak, which is still an Angel record. So that was pretty cool, going through that when you're a rookie. You're trying to fit in, and there's no better way to fit in than playing good baseball. Everyone likes you then, right?
Yes.
And so that was great. One of the first years went to the playoffs, played in the ALCS, played the Chicago White Sox, who ended up winning the World Series that year, but hit a home run off Mark Burley in the game. And then, really just the playoffs really stand out to me. We had a game in New York one time where got a go-ahead hit to knock Randy Johnson out of the game in New York. 60,000 fans going crazy, not yelling the nicest things to you. But, that's what it's about. It's the fun stuff like that, looking back on it. And, really, there's so many memories about the baseball side of it, but really when you kind of get away from the game more, it's more of the people that you met, the friends you still have, the connections you still have. You can pop in an old video every now and then and watch some highlights, but I love getting on the phone and talking with some of my buddies that I still talk to, and some of them that still play, and that's the fun part about it.
Well, you were always a humble player and always good to kids and really good in the community, and I always remember that about you, even from your days at the University of Minnesota, and you never forgot the people that you grew up with, and I think that's a great trait that our listeners and viewers should know, that I always have admired that about you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so now your baseball career ends, and now you're in this transition phase, and you have a family, and tell us now and the listeners about your newer ventures, I should say, one in the chiropractic area and the other in baseball. So maybe you could expand on that.
Yep. So, when you finish playing baseball, you think you're going to play forever, right? You think my career is not going to come to an end. I'll just play till I'm 50 and can retire happy and not have to worry about doing things. And it's really, when I was done playing, it gets boring sitting around all day. And I took about a month off and actually became a volunteer coach for the Golden Gopher baseball team for about a year and a half. Did that. Had a great time working with John Anderson, Rob Fornacier, Todd Oakes, late Todd Oakes, who had passed away, was the pitching coach, and had a great time doing that. And then one of my college roommates, we were talking about, his wife wanted to get out of her job. We were talking about some different areas of business that we could get into, and we kind of looked at the franchise world, and we settled on the Joint Chiropractic, which is in our 6th year here in the Twin Cities. And so it was a franchise that we saw that we knew that it wasn't going to go away. The hands-on care on people it's never going to go away. There's no robot that's going to come in and do adjustments and alignments on people. It was the hands-on and being around people. And the one reason why I really chose chiropractic is when I was playing baseball, one year I tore my oblique muscle taking batting practice. And I was out about 6 weeks. And when I came back to play, my whole body just felt out of alignment. And I knew I needed to see somebody to get me feeling back better again. And Dr. Prieto out in California was a team chiropractor, and went and saw him and started making me feel better, getting my back more in alignment. And that's really how, one of the main reasons why I settled on the Joint Chiropractic is I see the care that we can give to people and how it makes people feel better, which makes me feel great. There's nothing better than seeing a patient leave and be thankful for the care that we've given them. And I've always wanted to take kind of care of people. That's kind of my nature. So I think it was just a great fit all around for me to do that. And then the other adventure I'm working on too is the St. Croix Riverhounds, a new Northwoods League baseball team over in Hudson, Wisconsin. We're looking to open in 2019 over there. So that's just something that came up here in the last year. And really we're looking to break ground starting here in about the next month and a half.
That's a major endeavor. Starting a baseball team is one thing, but starting a baseball team and then having to build a stadium as well, and on a site that is presently developed.
Yeah.
Right? A site that's been sitting vacant, of course, in Hudson for many years now.
Yep.
So if you would, tell us a bit about that process of getting the approvals that you need and what you're going through in order to be able to build the stadium that the Riverhounds will be playing in.
Yep. So it is the old Hudson Dog Track off Carmichael Road there, just to the south off 94. And the good thing about is that I'm more focused on the baseball side of it. The main guy behind the whole development, his name is Clint Kloss, a great guy, lives over in Woodbury, good friends with my cousin, who's kind of the one that brought us in on this. And he's the one that oversees the whole development of the project, which I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. I know he gets stressed out at times, but does a phenomenal job of piecing everything together as you go. There's always just stuff that's coming up, and so really the development is the track is there right now. Actually, we're going to tear down most of the dog track that is there. It's 133 acres. They're going to develop the whole land with corporate offices, retail, hotel, housing, and then the main part that we're really focused on is the St. Croix Riverhounds baseball team with an event center connected to it. So really we want to have it's a 70 game schedule that we're going to have, 72 game schedule that we would have there, play 36 home games each year. But we also want it to be a year-round event center, whether it's the local high school teams or local amateur teams using the field if it's for baseball or other events. We want to be a part of the community. It's just not we're not coming in here to do this. We want it to be a community fun atmosphere around there, and let everyone in the community use the facility. So we'd love to rent it out for weddings and concerts and different events, whatever it may be. Stuff in the winter, snowmobile shows or whatever it may be. So it's a full event center, and I think dealing with the mayor of Hudson, he's really excited that we're coming in there, and it's kind of been a little bit of a sore eye for the city. So they're really happy that something's going to move in there.
Wonderful. And I know that you're going to have a role also. You're an owner, but you're also going to be heading up or helping head up the baseball operations area. And in saying that, I'm trying to think through your mind, and you can answer this, is this your way of giving back to the game in some way? I know you gave back to the University of Minnesota by being a volunteer coach, but in your mind, is this another way for you to give back?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. I mean, now you're on the other side. We kind of talked a little bit about you're not a player anymore. Now you're an owner, right? And you still miss being around the ballpark. That's one of the fun things. That's what I did my whole life, So it's nice to be back around the game, and it really is helping out. I played in this league when I was in college, down in Dubuque, Iowa, and up in St. Cloud. So I mean, I was thankful for all the people that. I mean, you don't realize what goes into it. There's house families that take in kids from all over the country that take care of kids, and they don't ask for anything. They just want to be around, help kids out. I had people that did that for me, and so really it is almost a way of giving back and helping out with the younger generation that wants to make it to the major leagues, or just have a fun summer playing baseball. And then also having, there's nothing better than seeing young kids come to the ballpark and having a smile on their face if they get a foul ball or they get some cotton candy, and we'll have some blow-up slides and all this other stuff. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about the experience. It's it's not always there to watch the game. It's about the whole experience about it. So I'm really happy to help out, give back, and yes, I will be more on the baseball operation sides, helping out with my brother Tom, who will kind of take a lead in it, and getting coaches in there, players from all over the country, just making sure we have a team. I mean, there's a lot of times during these summer leagues that kids come in and they're there for 2 weeks and they miss home. They want to go home, and I mean, you're constantly kind of filling your roster. So we want to obviously put a great team on the field. We want to be successful, but ultimately, it's just giving a great fan experience to the fan.
Minnesota has a great history of amateur baseball. Town ball has been huge in the state for as long as I can remember. And then we have, obviously a lot of minor league teams, Northwoods League, Northern League teams. Do you think that there will be a day when one of these teams might become an official affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, say?
I think it would be great if the St. Paul Saints could do that. I don't know, the behind it if that could happen or not. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of the teams now, major league teams, like it when their AAA team is closer to that city, and for the simple fact that is there's a lot of times when all of a sudden someone gets hurt the day of a game, and you know what, we're short a catcher. We only got one catcher. We need to get someone here right now. And so a lot of times, I mean, it happened to me where, you get pulled out of the middle of a day game and you're like, get on the next flight. You're going to this city because they need someone for tonight's game. So I would love for it, for the Saints to maybe make that a AAA team. Like I said, I don't know if that can happen or not, but I'm sure the Twins would like for that to happen.
How about Hudson itself, Hudson, Wisconsin? It's right over the border. It's close proximity to the Twin Cities. Were there other thoughts about having this Northwoods League team in another location, or was it always in your mind and your developer's mind and your brother's that you wanted to have it in Hudson?
Yeah, it was always Hudson. Like I said, Clint Kloss is the guy that brought this project to us, and he already had the development spot picked out and everything. So we knew if this is what was going to happen, we knew it was going to be in the Northwoods League. There wasn't a chance to be an affiliate of professional baseball. The Northwoods League is mostly college kids, or all college kids that can have a year of eligibility left, and they're all looking for somewhere to play during the summer. And the league right now has 20 teams, and so we knew what we were getting into as far as the Northwoods League. I don't know if, as far as, it's a smaller stadium that we're looking to build here. It should be able to, fit about 4,000 people. And typically with, if you're minor league teams, you're looking at stadiums that are a little bit bigger than that. So we kind of knew exactly what we were looking at, the area we wanted to be in. As far as being in Hudson, it was close to everybody. It's me and 5 other guys in the development group here for the baseball team, and they all live, in the White Bear, Woodbury, Stillwater area, and so we knew that's where it was going to be right away.
Have you started the process of selling season tickets and corporate partnerships and merchandise?
Yeah, we just kind of started here at the beginning of the year. We kind of had a little fundraiser kickoff at the end of last year. Originally, we thought we were going to play in 2018, but it got pushed back to 2019. There's a couple other teams that are going to come in to the league with us then. And so really we just started selling season tickets. So if anyone has any interest, go to St. Croix Riverhounds, SC Riverhounds, and you can go on the site. And we're selling tickets. We're finalizing the stages of exactly what the stadium is going to look like. So it's been a little bit tougher. We've talked to a few major groups about the naming rights for the stadium. And then as far as the advertising, we just got to finalize the stadium to see where we can put billboards, where we can't, different things. But the process has started, so we're looking forward to it. I mean, it's one of those things that we wanted to start in 2018, and then you see all the work that has to be done, and you're like, well, maybe it's better we wait until 2019.
Well, there's a lot of work in developing a new franchise or expansion club overall, but I'm curious to know, and maybe you're still in the process of doing this, but are you thinking about meeting with some of the other, not only Northwoods League teams, but also with some of the professional teams in the area to kind of gather relationships there and learn some things from them that you may not know going into this?
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Fanning, that is going to be our GM, that you have known for years, was the original GM for the St. Paul Saints when the team started. For I believe about 15 years he was there. He was in the insurance world, and he's looking to come back get back into the baseball world. So he's we've learned a lot from him. He's been a great addition for us. He's really helped us out. So he knows a lot of the stuff about the Saints. Where we've really gotten some really good information is going to some of the other teams in the Northwoods League. And Madison Mallards is the #1 team as far as attendance and kind of fan experience and everything. So we were there last year, went down to La Crosse to watch a few games. Just kind of starting to pick everyone's brain here, because we are new to it, and it's as much as we think we know baseball, there's a lot of business side to it that's what we need to learn more about and get that, how do we treat fans the best way so they have the most fun, and that's what we're learning here right now. And we're going to keep talking to other teams, gathering information, and try to get the best fan experience that we can.
Rob, this is a marketplace that has a tremendous number of attractions. And we've got every major professional sports team. We've got a Big Ten university with all the major sports, right? We've got racetracks. We've got theaters. We've got tons of things in this marketplace. Is there any concern about adding another attraction to the market, or do you feel that Hudson maybe is just far enough outside the Twin Cities that it's really a community unto itself?
Yeah, that's kind of what we thought. Is that it is, it is far enough away from St. Paul, Minneapolis, and don't get me wrong, people from Wisconsin head over to Twins games or hockey games or football. It's going to happen all the time. We're more of I don't want to say the low end, but it's more of a family atmosphere as far as our tickets are going to be very inexpensive. Hot dogs and sodas. We're not charging $7, $8 for any of this stuff. We want people to come out. We want them to bring your families. We want to bring the kids, have a hot dog, have a soda, enjoy the game. So I think there's enough difference from some of the major sports and some of the major activities. Like you said, there's There's a lot of theaters. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Minneapolis and St. Paul that it detracts a little bit from us. But I think that's why we chose Hudson, is that it is just kind of far enough away, and we'll get a lot of fans from heading east in past Hudson, River Falls and some different cities there where we're going to really try to attract some fans from.
Well, we're coming close to the end here, but off camera we talked a little bit about a total entertainment experience, and I want to get your feelings as a former player. You saw all the theatrics in the stands when you were with the Angels, and probably a little bit with the Gophers, and goofy PA announcers and cheerleaders and all sorts of different things going on, and you probably know a little bit about the Saints franchise and how they've marketed themselves. What do you think you from your experiences can help provide, giving that Hudson baseball a total entertainment experience?
Well, that's exactly what we want to do. Give the fans a great entertainment value, and we are early in on the stage of learning some of the things. That's where Bill Fanning has been really great. Has given us different ideas. Where you really see a lot of the entertainment is actually more in the minor leagues. I mean, they tend to do some more crazier and goofier things than compared to the major leagues. So really, we're kind of going through a list and don't want to give out a whole lot of information of what we're doing, but just compiling different things that you can do in between innings, before games, if it's tailgating, if it's having blow up slides for the kids to play on, just a handful of things that we're going through and getting ideas from everywhere else across the country. What's working for everyone else? I mean, if it's working somewhere else, there's a great chance it's going to work for us. So it's really just getting people in here with good ideas, and that's what we've been doing, and talking to other people. And Bill's really led the way on some of that stuff, and just really looking forward to it.
It's great.
One of the great things about minor league baseball is you can take some chances that you can't do, some things you can't do in major leagues. So it's always entertaining to see some of the things that come out of minor league baseball. And I think an independent league gives you even more freedom to do some really off-the-wall kinds of things. But it's all about creating that total entertainment experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we want to do. We want to, you want to push the envelope a little bit and do some different things and some quirkier things. And, we'll find out. I'm sure we'll do some things that we'll realize that we probably shouldn't have done. But that's how you learn, too, at times. I mean, you got to push the envelope. You got to make it a different experience for the fans all the time. Can't just constantly keep doing the same things. And that's why we're compiling lists of things we can do and really make, like I said, a good experience for the fans. And I mean, ultimately, it comes down to, when you say giving back, if the kids are going there and having a blast, they're going to want to come back. And if they want to come back, the parents are going to take them back. And that's what we ultimately want to do.
Last question, more of a fun question. Who is the best athlete in the Quinlan family?
Well, if I say me, which is not the correct answer, by the way, I'm sure my brothers might rough me up a little bit, but my oldest brother, Tom, was a really good athlete. I mean, he was probably by far the best athlete in the family. He was a high pick in baseball and hockey, and had an opportunity to play both. Actually played with the Toronto Blue Jays, won a World Series ring with them back in 1992. So he's definitely was the best overall athlete, as much as it pains me to say that. But yeah, he definitely was.
It's great.
Hey, Rob, thank you so much for joining us today on Behind the Game. It's great to have you here.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys.
Best wishes with the Riverhounds and the joint.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon.